Now we're going to take some time to talk about some of the different job responsibilities that might be involved when creating a film. When you watch a movie, the main thing that you pay attention to would be the actors, or the lead roles and the minor roles. And something that you might not think about was how the film actually made it from an idea in somebody's head to the big screen that you go and pay $9.50 to go watch. The reason that you pay $9.50 to watch a lot of times could be the actors, but you wouldn't be seeing that movie if it weren't for the different people involved. Now, for this project, you'll be working in groups to create your movie trailers, and at any given time, you could fall into one of these different job responsibilities as you're recording. So um, with all of these different job responsibilities, there are different things that go along with each.
And different skills. So, like if you find yourself being a little bit more artsy, you might fall a little bit more to the cinematographer or editing point of view. Perhaps you are a leader, you might fall in more of the director or the producer type roles. So, depending on your skills as a person, remember we took those learning inventories clear back last semester, it will probably show you where you would best fit in response to what you would do to help make your trailer a possibility.
So on these different job responsibilities, hopefully when we go through these few slides, you'll recognize, you probably won't recognize any of the names, although you might for some of the bigger ones, but chances are you will recognize some of the films that they've taken part in. So our first job responsibility, or our first job, is the cinematographer. This is the person who directs the photography. They supervise the camera operators and works with the director to film specific shots. So they really know their camera angles, they really know their lighting, things like that. They have a scene and they're the ones that know, hey, a wide shot or a close-up shot would be the best to really get the message across for what we're trying to say in this particular scene. So two cinematographers that we picked out here are Wally Pfister. You might recognize Batman Begins, The Dark Knight. That picture of him is with one of the Batman movies. And Emmanuel Lubezki. Maybe the only one that you might recognize here would be Sleepy Hollow, also Children of Men, and E2 Mama Tambien. These are the people that have the eye for art, so they can look at something and they just have an eye to see the creative side of how something should be shown.
Making it look pretty.
The next job that we have would be the director. This is who shapes the film by determining how it should be shot. They're the ones that usually supervise the entire cast. They select the location, and it is essential to the effectiveness of the film. So they're kind of the ones that they get to call the shot. Like if they tape something and he doesn't like how it goes, he's the one that gets to say that they're going to redo it. So the director is kind of the top dog over everything during the actual filming of the movie. So some that you might recognize would be James Cameron, Titanic, the Avatar movie, James Cameron directed that, Terminator, Spider-Man, and then Michael Bay, who directed Transformers, Armageddon, and Pearl Harbor.
So this is the guy, when you've seen all those movies or when you're thinking about movie, the guy who yells, "Cut!" That would be the director.
Our next job would be the editor. This is the person that assembles, cuts, organizes, and joins the available shots to create the film. So this is the one where we talked about the editing, where we would have the cuts, the cross-cutting, the fade in, the fade out, the wipes. This would be the person that would get to decide this should be a fade in, or this should be a fade out, or this should just be a cross-cutting, or things like that. They're the one who takes all the pieces of the movie together, and they're the ones that organize them into a nice flowing movie. We have a woman here, Thelma Schoonmaker. She was the editor for The Aviator, The Departed, and Gangs of New York. And then we have Michael Kahn, who was the editor for Raiders of the Lost Ark, Schindler's List, and Saving Private Ryan.
So if you're thinking of in terms of your role in this movie trailer creation process, if you're the computer guy, you're the one with your hand on the mouse looking at iMovie, you're the editor.
Yeah, we definitely saw in our persuasion commercials that there were just some of you that were a little more familiar with iMovie than other people. This is you. This is a job for you. The next job we have is the producer. One of the most famous producers we know is Steven Spielberg, although Steven Spielberg has also dabbled in the role of director at times too. However, the producer is kind of the one that is responsible for obtaining financing and establishing and managing the budget. So this is the guy that says, we have this movie to make and this is how much money we have to create it. Responsibilities may go beyond the budget to other aspects. He might be the one that hires the director and the lead actors, and he also is the one who works with the director on the artistic matters, and he's the one that if there's a problem, he's the one that has to figure it out. So Steven Spielberg here, as a role of a producer, has produced Transformers, The Lovely Bones, one of my favorite books, although the movie was awful, and Saving Private Ryan. So.
And the producer can oftentimes, if you're thinking of these roles, think of how many people it takes to build a house. And Mr. Helfrich is going to tell us kind of how these different roles can work with that analogy.
Well, just if you look at it, the producer, if you think about in home building, he might be like the contractor that puts everybody together and gives them their assignments and lines everybody up to complete the job. And if you look at it that way, then the movie would be the final product as the house would also.
Exactly. So in house building, the contractor, he finds the electrician, he finds the plumber, he finds the carpet guy. The producer is in charge of everything, whereas a foreman, kind of like the director would be, is more specifically, they're on that job site every day working with the plumber, the electrician, and so on to make sure it happens. The producer may come and go, right? The contractor might not be at the job site every single day, but they were in charge of it. So bottom line, something happens, something goes wrong, it falls to the producer to make sure it gets fixed. So the producer is like the head honcho who hires everyone. He's the bottom line. The director is more of the everyday hands-on person who's there to make sure it goes exactly how he or she wants.
Some interesting thing that, a side note that you might want to do sometime is look up some of your favorite movies or just some movies and look at the budgets for the movies that were created and find what kind of budget and what kind of money people are using and have access to make certain movies. So you wonder where your $9.50 goes.
Yes.
Then our last job is going to be the screenwriter. And the cool thing about the screenwriter job is that each and every one of you are going to be screenwriters, because what the screenwriter does is they will write the film for the script, and a lot of times their big role is adapting it from a novel or another source. So they would take, like Orson Welles would take the novel Citizen Kane, and they would say how that would be adapted from a novel to an actual movie. John Sayles did The Fugitive, Apollo 13, Jurassic Park 4. Think about the screenwriter for the Harry Potter movies. They had to take the whole set, the whole Harry Potter series, thank you, and adapt that into a film. And so a lot of times it's interesting to see authors' comments after the screenwriter has done their job, authors' comments on if they got it right. So that movie that you see playing in your head when you read your short story, that is you as a screenwriter getting ideas. So.
Exactly. Screenwriter is super important, and obviously the direct link in this unit where we're taking film and making it literature.
So those are the different jobs that you might come in contact with when you are creating your film. So just keep in mind when you're creating your movie trailer, at any given time when you're doing whatever, try to think, well, right now I'm being the editor, or right now I'm being more of the director. And it's important to know that there's more than a movie than just the actors.